Hello and welcome to Casual Leaves. So I've been thinking about which should be my next video, and I had a couple of ideas, but then I thought, instead of doing one thing, let me talk about a bunch of things and about a bunch of plant things and then some other things. So this is going to be a more of a chatty video, but the major focus is going to be on my plant updates. So this is where all my plants are kept right now. It's a very makeshift arrangement. I don't really have a plant shelf or a cabinet at the moment, but that's on plants, and we will talk about that at some point in this video. I have not done any of plant update videos since the later half of last year, so I thought at least this year I'm going to try and be more regular. Also, I think I don't do that because I don't really have a very big collection. It is still a smaller collection with about 35 odd plants, some of which are of course very rare, and I'm growing it much this year, so I want to talk about the plans for that. And of course, a very important note is about me getting 500 subscribers now. And that's pretty much a big deal for me because I started from zero. So it's a very, very big thing, and I want to talk about that as well today. So before that, if you're new here, I make houseplant videos and some other interesting unboxing and review videos. So do subscribe to the channel. It will mean a lot. And if you've come back to my channel, thank you so much for coming back. I welcome you again, and let's get into this video. So this year started a bit positively for my plants because I added about 8 new plants to it, and I did a recent video on that, and thank you so much for watching that. If you haven't, please go and see those plants, but I will be taking you through all the plants I have today in the updates part of this section of the video. So this is where I keep my plants. This is basically a small room in our apartment flat, and I have sort of arranged them in a manner that most of them get their preference of lighting. Let me just take you through all the plants, and I'm going to take them one by one and individually give their updates. Also, as we get onto the plant updates, do remember to watch the later part of this video. I will be talking a bit more about the future plans for this YouTube channel, some other updates, and my plans for my plants in 2024. So do stay for the fun part. So this is the makeshift arrangement I was talking about. In the past, I did have a better setup where I had a different type of a shelf or sort of a chest of drawers on which I would keep all my plants, and I would have my grow lights installed for them in the living room. Over time, I made another one. I'm going to try and insert a picture of that here, which was again a makeshift tabletop of sorts to keep my plants. And right now I'm actually using this old guitar stand. It's a vertical stand, supposed to be vertical, but I've kept it horizontally, and I have now made 2 sections of plants here. And apart from that, there is this section here in the corner. Let me move this thing away. 1 second. Yeah, so there is this part of the side sitting area that we have at the windows here, where I keep some of my other plants. And then there is this other section, which is like a rehab section, and I will come to that in a bit as we go through all the updates. And then I have a little hanging Amazon shelf thing, and I'll come to that as well. And then we have a little hanging planter here. Currently, I'm using these grow lights, which are from Amazon. These are clamp lights. They go in like that, and they're really handy. One of them is facing the plants kept here and here on the ledge, and the other one is kind of throwing the light on all of these plants, as well as my Monstera here. So let's start from the left side. This is my Scindapsus Treubii Moonlight, and I'm just very happy with this plant. So I ordered it from House of Merak, and I featured this plant earlier in a video. And soon after that, I figured they had mealies in them. So this plant has actually been undergoing mealybug treatment. It was quite bad, or about to get quite bad, but I kind of found it very soon. I love the colors. The gray and the bluish colors are just so beautiful. I would really advise for everyone to have this plant for sure. I have kept this the farthest from the window because, and even the light, because in my understanding the lighting controls the color, lighting and temperature controls the color. So I just felt this spot works for it really well. And it is pushing out some new leaves, but it's a slow grower. We all know that Scindapsus usually is a slow grower, and more so the Moonlight, Treubii Moonlight version. All of these leaves were infected with mealies. This entire vine, even this one, this entire vine was infested with mealies, but it's okay right now. There's a new growth here. So just today I have given it a neem oil spray treatment, and that's what I do. I do it very regularly, and I keep an eye out for seeing any mealy bugs coming onto the leaves. I really keep a sharp eye on that. So that's my first plant. Now the second one is a very amazing plant, which is, oh, excuse the Bugs Bunny here, it always keeps falling. So here is my Anthurium Vittariifolium. I have used one of these tall clear containers which really work well for anthuriums which love to be kind of on a height. These Vittariifolium and Paraiso love to be on a particular height. So this pot really helps me create that height for the plant. And can't really see any roots on this. I used to in the beginning. So here there's some roots this side, but really not sure. But it's pushed out a lot of new leaves. Let me just keep it and I'll show that. So yeah, okay. So from the time I got it, this was one of the new leaves. Of course, it's very small. This is a recent one, which is a bit more longer. And this is the very new leaf right now. Just gonna let it focus. Yeah, this here is the newest leaf. It is still growing. And I love the way they grow. So the stem grows first, is how I have been observing, and then the leaf is still small, and then the leaf will start expanding. So like this one, it is still expanding and it will continue to, and this as well. So maybe in my next updates we'll keep an eye out and see how much this leaf grew further. Overall, really excited about this plant because I want to achieve the hanging pendant shaped leaf look with this plant. So really looking forward to that. Next to it is my new Syngonium Wendlandii. This is a very new plant. It's almost like a baby, so just too soon to say anything about it, but it's doing fine. There is a new leaf, which is this one. This is the newest leaf which opened, unfurled. The soil, I do believe, requires to be changed because it seems to be just a lot of coco peat, but there is new growth right at the bottom of the stem, so I didn't want to disturb it. Maybe in a few days, I think I really need to water it, but yeah, maybe in a few days I will try and change the soil and use the typical aroid soil. I really like how the leaf colors are so striking amongst all my plants, like you just can't miss seeing it. So I really love the look of these lightning patterns in the middle of dark green leaves, and they're quite velvety, they're very soft. I wish you could actually just touch them. So that's my next plant. Coming on to my Begonia Maculata, really proud of this beauty. It has been pushing so many new leaves. This over here, this entire bunch is a set of new leaves. It is a fast grower, I would say. It's a very delicate plant. Like at times, this is a brand new leaf, such a beautiful, pretty leaf, and it just fell just with the brush of a wind. So I don't know why that happens. It's happened so many times. there'll be like 2-3 brand new leaves. Like over here at this spot there's another new leaf, and the one in my hand was right next to it, but it just fell. It happens many times, so I just try to not really touch this plant at all. Let me give you a better view. So there are two stems. When I got the plant, there were two stems. Let me pick it up actually. So from the back you can see there are two stems, and now there are two new stems which the plant has pushed out on its own. So the total there are 4 stems right now, but I am facing that issue where the leaves do just fall off, and I quite don't know the reason. I had specially got a humidifier only and only for this plant, but it conked off just after 3 months, I would say. And I think that's the problem with all the humidifiers, at least the smaller ones. So look at this, how beautiful it is. I think this is like a must-have plant in your collection. Begonia Maculata, polka dot begonia, angel wing begonia, they are just similar to each other. I do believe this is a Begonia Maculata. Moving on, I have some cuttings of my Enjoy Pothos. This is the original one. If you have been on my channel, you would know I had received a single string of Enjoy Pothos from one of the sellers on Facebook, and it was doing okay, but it was too slow in growth, so eventually I chopped it up completely. Though I have another one which is a big one, and I have that in my trailing plants video, so you can have a look there. But I really love it, and I want to eventually start to pot these up because the roots are ready to be potted. Those are all roots inside. Let me see if I can show in the light. Yeah, so the roots are all ready. So this one just hangs here next to the Scindapsus. Then I have a cutting of my Scindapsus. I have Scindapsus which is kept in the living room. I had a cutting of that which had broken, and I put it here, and it's doing really fine. I usually try to keep this small pot in my bathroom where I really like the look of it, and I really love this leaf on top, which is so silver, like it's 95% silver. So I really like this. I think it's so unique. This entire little pot is unique because of this one leaf. And yes, these are slow growers. It takes a lot of time for new leaves to come in, so you just got to be patient with that. This one is my fiddle leaf plant, which I have covered in my last video where I got 8 new plants for my collection. This is right now just hanging out, not really doing anything. I really don't know much about this plant, and honestly I just want to let it be. It will grow when it grows. Next is my Syngonium strawberry milk. It's a very beautiful plant, but so I have 2 cuttings here. One is on the left, one is on the right. The left one is this tiny skimpy one which you can barely see. One new leaf coming here in the center. Doesn't do really well, but this one on the right is doing really well. This was stuck in couriers for 11 days and it was all dried up when I got it, but it's actually doing well now. Look at the new pink leaf. It's actually all pink. Let me show you a full better look. Even I haven't actually looked at it properly. So this one is on the newest leaf and it's all pink and white. It's beautiful. It's very nice. Again, recommended plant for sure. Very unique, very different. It's got the minty green, cream, pink shades going on. The leaf itself has a really unique shape as it grows bigger and larger. So this one here is just so beautiful. Other one never unfolds. I think it's like genetically having a disorder. It will just not open up. It will just only one half of the leaf opens and the other one stays curled up. So not really doing much with this plant. I'm actually just letting it be. I don't even look at it. I try to avoid looking at it. So it just continues to grow. And I place it right here. That's the spot it likes. And then I have my Syngonium variegated, which I had chopped up. This had become that tall. It was almost twice the size it is now, and I'll show the cuttings for this as well. But we chopped it up, and this is the new leaf, this one, and there is a new one coming here underneath it. So I don't disturb this plant as well, it just stays where it is because it is a spider mite magnet. And the cuttings of that plant are here. Again, I have that video if you want to refer to it. These are some 7-8 cuttings from back then. There are new leaves on it which it has pushed out, and it's all rooted. It's ready to be potted up. Those are the roots. I just need to make up my mind and put it up. It's just that I again stay away from this plant. I don't really kind of monitor it much because every time I go I see spider mites, and I've been treating it for the longest time, so I keep it away. I keep it here very away from the rest of my plants. But yeah, the spider mites are there, but they are manageable. My homemade solution really works well on them, so it's not a huge problem, but I have to keep it away. I have to make sure it's not touching any of the other plants, or the spider mites will just crawl into those. So very dangerous for my other plants. So moving on, that is my Anthurium Clarinervium. I got this maybe 5 months back, and I wanted to do a video on it, and it's such a funny story because when I ordered it, it was supposed to be maybe this size of a plant. Like, it was supposed to be a 6-inch tall plant, and there was a specific picture, but when I received it, I got the world's tiniest Anthurium baby plant. So I was so upset, but here we are. Just don't know what to do with these fallen perfect leaves. But anyway, so I'm just going to remove the little greenhouse I've created for it with this glass vase. Let me remove that and show you the plant. I avoid taking that out because it's a little tough to put back in, but it's needed. It's a plant update video. So here is my Anthurium Clarinervium. This is the newest leaf. If you can see the change in color, the light green one, that's how they are. It's almost translucent, and it's gonna become way bigger, I know, because when this is the second last leaf, and when this one had come out, it was maybe 1/4 of that size, and see how big it is now. So I know that it's gonna eventually pick up. It's just that this plant, when it arrived, it was really small. Like, these two leaves were the biggest leaves it had, and look at the roots. It's all fuzzy inside. Can I zoom onto it? Yeah, look at that fuzzy root thing here. And the reddish bit in the center where the new leaves come from. So yeah, it's doing really well only because of the glass container which I've kept on top of it. That's the only reason I think it's kind of surviving. And I would advise you to create a greenhouse for such juvenile plants. For example, these things, I use these Ziploc bags to create humidity and to create a little greenhouse effect. So really advise doing that. I will try and insert a picture or a video of the size of this plant when it had arrived, and trust me, it was a joke. Okay, so the glass is back on. Next to it is my Syngonium Pixie. Look at this beautiful baby. It's flourished so well. This came as a free plant to me with my Monstera from Little Jungle, the website from where I ordered my Monstera, and they sent me two very tiny, very tiny shoots, and I'll try and insert a picture. And today this plant is thriving. It's just beautiful. It's a very nice Syngonium. And I feel these busher kind of Syngoniums look really nice in the bathroom space. I really love to keep them in the bathroom or even in the kitchen for that matter. So I'm just letting it be here in between all the plants so that it kind of starts thriving first, and then I will find a space for it. Next one is my beautiful Anthurium Crystallinum. I am mad about this plant. I just can't get over it. And when I got this plant, I was so happy. It used to be so small, and today it's doing so amazing. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves. There are 7 leaves, and I think there were 9, and I chopped off a few so that the energy gets saved. And these leaves are actually more than 1.5 feet long. I have done a full video on a then versus now video where I show the growth of this plant. And I remember last year when I got this leaf, I was overjoyed. I was elated that I had one of the bigger leaves. And then I got these other 3 even bigger leaves. And trust me, this gives joy. No matter, even if you're not a plant lover, you are going to love this. It just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder about nature and the simple beauty of it. I mean, it's just a plant in the end, right? It's just a leaf, but it's just so beautiful. It's velvety, it's thick, it's got a shine, the venations, the patterns. Like these leaves are like a cloth, literally like a cloth. And I do have a bloom right now, and this bloom is actually ready for some pollen. If you see the sap here, I'm going to switch my camera 1 second. Yeah, if you see those little watery dots, shiny dots, pearls of sap, that's where you rub a ready bloom, which is in the male stage. You rub it on that sap, and it will sort of produce the seeds which are like the berries, the fruits of the flower, from which you can make more babies. And at one go, I've seen people make 200 to 600 different plants from the seeds you get. So this is the 3rd flower I have had now. There were 2 more which have gone. This is the 3rd new one, and there is a new leaf on the way out, which is here, this little thing popping out from this petiole. That's a new leaf. And I had potted this up very recently in this terracotta pot. It's a very huge pot, if you can't make out on the camera, but it's a very huge 8-inch kind of a pot, and it's doing really well for it. I wish this part was inside, but there was no space. The plant is too big, but that's why it's exposed, which is fine for anthuriums. So that's my Anthurium Crystallinum. Okay, moving on to my Monstera deliciosa. I have changed its spot recently to keep it down on the floor. It used to be where the Anthurium is, and the Anthurium would be here, but that's where my Alocasia Jacklyn is. So the Monstera comes down. Also because the leaves were really going very high, I think because of the close proximity to the grow lights. So I realized it would be much better if I kept it on the floor. And also because of one major issue, which is a fan here on top, which would kind of come directly on my new leaves, and they wouldn't really get to expand. And if you see this leaf, it got damaged. I was so excited about this leaf because I knew this will be one of the biggest leaves so far, but you see these spots and these markings. Basically, when the leaf was unfurling, oops, I broke that, I think. So anyway, when the leaves were unfurling, there was too much air draft on it from the fan, and it didn't really get the humidity and the time needed for it to completely enlarge and harden up. So parts of it started hardening before the rest of it could even grow out of its potential. And it's just a very sad thing, but I just try to tell myself maybe it's like a Monstera aurea leaf or something with yellow variegation, but it's not variegation, it's just a bad leaf right now. But overall, this plant is, I think, now adjusted into the self-watering pot. I did a video on it recently if you'd like to check. So you can check the progress of my entire plant right from the beginning and how the self-watering plant works. And I think it's really good for big size plants or plants which will eventually go big. I really recommend getting self-watering pots. In the future, maybe for my Anthurium, I'm going to try that. For most of my plants, I really want to try self-watering pots, to be honest. Moving on to my Alocasia Jacklyn. This is the spot where she stays, and I think it likes it here, but I think I'm facing the same issue. Like this leaf has, or maybe it's still hardening up, but this leaf is a new one and it's still opening up. It's been many days, but it started to curl here on the corner, and I'm fearing if that is because of the air draft, or I think it's just taking time. It's just still in the hardening process, so it should be fine. This is one of my most unique rare plants. I think it's the rarest of all the plants I have, and I just love it so much. It's a pure joy just to see all these textures on it. And of course, if you've not seen the video on this one, but just look at the stems, the pattern on the stems. It's just really, really unique. I love it. I love everything about this plant. I'm just gonna take it out as well and show it to you. So that's how big it is. And yeah, I'm being very careful with all my plants. I regularly spray them with my spider and neem oil because some of my rehab plants have thrips on them. So that's the story. But if you know what's going on here, if you can make a guess, I just think it's a very big leaf. It's one of the biggest leaves. Something is wrong with the camera today. Yeah, so I was saying that I just think that this leaf is maybe one of the biggest leaves. It is still unfurling, and that's why it's taking time. Maybe it's still gonna, continue to grow, and maybe I should just stay patient with it, because if you see this area, it's much longer than this one. So maybe in a few days we'll know if something was wrong with the leaf or it was just growing up. Next one is my Alocasia dragon scale, a beautiful plant. And I think I did the right thing by just taking two pots. I have taken two different pots here. And if you can see, there are so many corms coming in. And I actually don't know how to work around them. So if you know, do tell me, what am I supposed to do? When do I start to take them out? But yeah, this is a two-shooter plant. This is the newest leaf on this, the small one. I don't know why there are these spots in them, almost like a hole or something. So I need to figure it out. But it's got a really beautiful back. I love the back of all Alocasias, but I think something is probably wrong. Need to check that out. This is the new leaf on the other one. So total 3 shooters of Alocasia dragon scale, and I just love it. I love it when the leaves are like all shaky. So that's pretty cool. It's very neat. And just want to show the back of the leaves because they are just so beautiful. Love this maroon line on the back, the venations. It's such a pretty look. That's what I like about Alocasias. You can see them from any side and they look just so beautiful. And next here is a little messy corner, but that's my Paraiso Verde. And it's doing fine. It's still adjusting. That's a new leaf unfurling here, and there's a new offshoot here at the back over here. And yeah, this is adjusting right now. I won this in the giveaway. I had participated in a giveaway contest and I got this beautiful Paraiso Verde from that. So really happy. It's really outgrowing the pot and I need to add a moss pole, I believe, to it, though it's not necessary, but I think I will. Here is my Pepperomia, watermelon Pepperomia, which is totally destroyed. I lost it to root rot. It was a very big plant. I'll try and put a picture if I have, but I lost it, and then I tried to water propagate it. But one day I saw there was a lot of mosquito larvae in the water, so I put the whole thing in hydrogen peroxide solution, and that killed the plant completely. And that's all that is left of it. Next to it is my spider plant, which was doing very nice. It was flourishing, growing, but it was so big, so I decided to chop it off, keep the babies, and I gave away the mother plant. That's my queen of the night cactus, also known as Brahma Kamal. That's there. This is my English ivy, which I just chopped up completely, which was also here. This plant had gotten really big, and I decided to chop it up because I couldn't really manage it, and I saw some spider mites, and I wasn't too keen on having this plant, but because it was a gift, I just kept one of the vines, and I barely check on it. Okay, there's a lot of fruits and no water, so I think I need to fix that. Yeah, so that's a little sad situation. I'll do something about it. I think I will just keep this here for now. I used to keep some plants here, whichever I propagate, I try to keep it here under this little light, but then natural light is always much better. And that's my air plant, which is not really doing too well. I haven't really gotten a chance to do something about it. Again, I'm not too sure about how to manage them. Then that's the English ivy, which I've chopped up completely. This is one of my monsteras which refuses to do well no matter what. So I'm just gonna let it be here and get it to be ignored. Next is my Hoya Compacta Carnosa, and finally I'm happy with it because it's growing roots and you can see the roots very well. So the new aroid mix is doing great. Look at these roots. So it had very fine roots, and I've done a video on this one as well. It wasn't doing too well. Otherwise, the soil was really bad. And after I've put the new soil, I'm just so happy to see all these new roots. So that's a good one. Good update for this guy. And very recently, I've just started spraying it with a NPK, very diluted, extremely mild NPK diluted solution. I heard that helps the plant flower. So trying to do that with my Hoya Hindu rope or Hoya Compacta Carnosa. And then these two are my outcasted Thai constellations. So they have thrips. So I got this one originally from a seller in a very good deal, but then I soon realized it had thrips and was doing very poorly. Right now it's about to give me a new leaf. You can show it here. Yeah, that's the new leaf. Something terribly wrong with the camera today, as usual actually. So that's the new leaf on this Thaicon. And then this is the second one. So the seller finally, after 1.5 months, sent me another Thaicon, and this one had 3 leaves. And this is the new leaf in my care, which is okay, but it's all thrips infested. And I honestly don't want to touch it right now much because I may just spread it all onto my other plants. Even this leaf was in my care, but it kind of totally got wrinkled and it got ruined because of thrips, and I was spraying it too much with water because it was taking time to unfold. But I realized that I was just being too quick with it. I didn't give it enough time. But to be honest, if this recovers, it's going to be a very, very beautiful plant. I mean, look at this leaf. I would be just happy with that alone. This leaf isn't too bad either. Now, the problem with thrips is that they lay eggs right into the leaf, inside the leaf sheath. So you really can't do much, but you keep spraying it with neem oil solution and other solutions. And that's what I'm doing. I regularly do neem oil sprays on it. I think this leaf will very soon go out. I will have to chop it. The stem seems infected to me. It's very dark black in color now. So that's on this section, which is all my rehab plants. And then here I have my Monstera Peru. So I had put my Hoya Hindu rope here first, but then I decided to move in my Monstera Peru. This is again a very ignored plant. As you can see, I don't really pay attention to it. It's bone dry. I need to water it, which I will. But it did see some new growth. I had propagated some of the vines. One of the vines, it was a single vine plant, but this was the second one, which then I propagated from the main one, this one, and I put it back in, and it was growing, like giving me new leaves, which are like here, but I think it's so dry, it's not really able to push out the leaves properly. It's definitely a recommended plant. I would recommend it, but you just need to make sure you get a good quality one. Like mine was actually a free cutting from my earlier office. So it's okay, it's decent. I just don't take good care of it, and it's just a very slow grower for me. Though it's not supposed to be a slow grower, it's supposed to be a very fast growing plant. But nevertheless, I'm gonna take care of this after this video. I'm gonna give it some water. Moving on, we will go to the bottom part of this unit here, which is again some of my latest plants. So that's my Raphidiphora Tetrasperma, which isn't doing as great as I'd like it to be. The roots are fine. In fact, it's quite satisfying to watch this plant because it's got good roots going on in the new soil mix. And I've done a video on on this plant. Yeah, so it's got a good system going on, good roots, but it's not giving me good leaves. There are barely any new leaves, and there was some stuff happening here, but I chopped it off over here. I had to just chop that off completely. Same for this cutting, no new leaves, nothing is really happening. So I'm just letting it develop the roots. This is also like this entire area is also a bit of a separate area for plants which are right now either adjusting or need extra humidity, because this shelf here kind of creates a little atmosphere underneath the plants above, and it does have a little better moisture, and it protects these plants from the air draft which comes from the top. So this is my Melanichrysum. I just love it so much. So Melanichrysum, this is the newest leaf. It is still growing, it's still hardening off. I try not to touch it much, and it is kind of building on a new leaf here. I think there's still more time, so I really want to protect this plant. This is my wish list plant, and so is my Splendid. This is my Philodendron Splendid. This is the newest leaf, and let me tell you, this is a slow grower. Like this was a new leaf, this was a new leaf, and they both came to me. They were completely closed. This one has opened up, and this one is still unfurling. That's the amount of speed difference in both of them. But I just love the color. I just love this orange pinkish blush, almost like a sunset look to it. Very pretty. Eventually the idea is to put both of these on a moss pole, Next to it is my Mamei, Philodendron Mamei. This is the newest leaf, which I have covered in my new plant video for January haul. It has even grown much bigger than then now, so it's still expanding. It is still hardening off, and I love the patterns on it. The silver splashes are so pretty. It does look like a silver cloud, so like the silver lining, silver patterns around the edge of the leaf. That's why people also call it SP silver. So that's that. Here is my Philodendron Verrucosum, which I had again done a full video on, to where I'm putting it on a moss pole, but that moss went really bad and started stinking, so I finally removed it, and I figured that the plant was also not doing too well, so I've put it in this water propagation bit, and a part of that is a little leftover part is in soil. So finally I managed to get some better sphagnum moss, which is the better quality, the white sphagnum moss, which I'm yet to use for this plant. But when I removed the new moss pole with the old bad sphagnum moss, I realized the roots are in a bad condition, so I can't really put it on a moss pole and waste all that moss. So maybe I'm going to use that moss for these two plants, or for this plant eventually. I'm waiting for these to adjust to my home's ecosystem, and then I'm going to put a moss pole. Until then, I'm going to wait. And now the saddest part, the saddest story, but with sort of a silver lining, is my, can you guess what this is? Should I leave a moment for everyone to guess? I think everyone can guess that this is my black velvet, my Alocasia black velvet, and we started our journey from this plant. My houseplant journey was from this plant, and today there is no leaf on it, just this little tuber. But little saving grace is the new roots, the fresh new roots. Quite satisfying to watch this. So happy I had this container for it, otherwise I would be going mad for this. In fact, it's pushing out a lot of roots on the top as well. Here there are new roots, so I have decided to just leave this plant be. Right now there's a lot of moisture, it's quite wet, and I let it stay here behind in its ecosystem. So I did put a glass cover on this as well, a little casing on top to create a greenhouse effect, but the entire plant got fungus from it. It was really bad and I got so scared, but then I removed that and I placed it here in open, and it seems to be working fine because that's when the roots started growing. So yeah, I'm like crossing my fingers for my Alocasia black velvet, because that's gonna really give me a scar if it doesn't come back. But it is what it is. And there's another Alocasia black velvet which I had ordered, and again I have a video on this as well if you've seen it, but that didn't do well either. Let me show you where it is right now. So this thing here is my other Alocasia black velvet. This is all that was left of it. So if you remember, I had gotten a new Alocasia black velvet. I got a really good deal on it, and all the leaves from that fell off completely. Then there was this brand new leaf which is now pushing another leaf. I had read that it's best to keep these in high humidity levels, so I actually keep this inside my Ziploc bag. But lately I'm starting to feel that the moisture is too much. Like the humidity levels are probably 100% in there, and maybe it doesn't need that. So I'm contemplating if I should maybe kind of leave this a bit open, or maybe shift this underneath the cabinet where my other Alocasia is. For now, just gonna close it and try to ignore it and hope that ignoring it works. And lastly, one more plant to go, and this is also in my Ziploc bag. And if there's a Ziploc bag, it has to be a begonia. So this is my Rex begonia, I believe. I was not gonna pick up this plant when I got it, but I don't know why I got it, and it's really not doing well. The biggest leaves were so beautiful. I'll try and insert the picture or a video. They were so beautiful and I fell for it and I bought it, and eventually they died off, and now I just have these tiny babies of it. So I just try to keep it in the Ziploc bag because I believe that's what begonias like. They really do love 100% humidity level. So until this grows bigger, I'm just gonna leave it in this. And I barely water this. I just have watered it once and it goes on for more than a month. So that was the plant updates part for January 2024, and now I want to continue to the next part of this video, which is more on some updates. Considering now it's been a while, I've been making these videos for more than a year actually now, and I have finally got some decent amount of subscribers. So I have some 500 subscribers now, and shortly, if I have enough number of watch hours, I can actually qualify for the YouTube monetization. So that's my goal, that's my aim. Of course, because I'm making these videos, I do want to attach a little goal with it so that I keep pushing myself to achieve it, which would be to complete the bare minimum amount of subscribers and watch hours so that the channel can get monetized. And not that that is the only purpose. Of course, the main purpose remains to grow a healthy plant collection, rare plant collection, build a community, be a part of the community, learn new things and explore new things. I remember when I had just started this 1.5 years back, I was so fascinated by the word philodendron and anthuriums and syngoniums. All these words were just so funky and fancy for me, and I didn't know them at all before. Even if I'd seen those plants, which actually I hadn't, not most of them, but I was so fascinated, and Hoyas and Monsteras and everything. And there's so much to learn, and there are so many new types of products which are now available. I mean, we are still behind than what we get outside our country, but still there's so much more, and the new community which is building so rapidly, so quickly, and it's so impressive. And they are getting plants from Indonesia now for everyone in the country, and so many more products. So I'm excited with that. And my future plans for my plants, at least for this year, would be to actually have a good plant cabinet or a plant shelf sort of a situation. I face a hard time creating videos in the room with my plants, and usually I try to find other spots in my house to shoot the videos, but I want to have a proper setup. I want to have a good lighting equipment. I want to have a better voice system. At least I've started having remote wireless mics now to record better audios, which used to be a problem before for me for my videos. I'm sure you will notice it as you go back in the feed. So a good lighting system, a good storage system. So right now, most of my videos are recorded on my phone, and I'm always out of storage. So that's a huge problem for me. That is something I want to fix, which will immediately impact the output for my YouTube channel. That's the other one. And yeah, mainly trying to push out more content in a week is what I want to aim at. So it's not really about adding more plants to my collection and having a collection of say 100 plants or 200 plants and things like those. I'm not really aiming for that, but I'm really aiming to grow with the current collection, give them a better atmosphere, a better ecosystem, better arrangements, my creativity with editing, the softwares I use to edit my videos, the schedule at which I upload. Those are my future plans for the channel, and I hope I can do it. I want to be more organized. I want to be taking notes, which I've started doing. I'm trying to make a proper list of things that I need to do for the channel and stick to it. Write scripts for my videos and not just come and speak here, which is what I've been doing for the last a couple of videos, where I try to have a proper flow to what I want to speak, articulate better, speak better, have a better flow. So those are the things I'm working on. Coming to the personal updates part of this whole thing, which affects the plans for my channel bit, we've been facing a lot of difficulties with some illnesses in the family, which is a very, very tough time for all of us. But that's the reason why I haven't been able to create much content with regularity, but I'm still trying because this is my escape zone from it, where I can come out of those things and create some content. Of course, it affects the schedule for me, the number of videos I'd like to make in a week and upload, and of the views I get for my videos. So at times, no matter how much hard work I may put into it, it may not lead to a good outcome if I don't have a good schedule for uploading the number of videos I should for my channel, and specifically for the niche, which is houseplants. So that is the other thing I want to work on. And I also wanted to talk a bit about myself, because now that we have reached a decent number of subscribers here, it's only fair I talk a bit about myself a bit more often maybe. So I do have a full-time job. I work in advertising and I handle good big clients of different brands, and we make ad films for them. We go on shoots, we write scripts for them, we have a creative team and an art team with which we work. So it's a very interesting line of work, and that keeps me very, very busy. Honestly, no time to create videos with all of that, but that's the challenge I love, to be able to do other things as well. In the past, I have had other hobbies, which is like a jewelry business, and I'm going to put the page for it up here. I used to have a bohemian jewelry business of my own. I used to have a soy candle business, which was doing very, very well as well. I used to make candles. I still do soy candles, which are vegan and pet friendly, and I used to get really good orders, but that takes time. So I eventually, with the job I'm in, I couldn't really continue with it because I think I reached a nice place with it, and after that it would be just to go all professional with it, which I couldn't have the time for with an existing job. And then I moved on to my houseplants and creating YouTube videos. So that's like my third thing I'm doing this time around. So I've done this in the past, where apart from my job, I have one more thing that I do. And a few more things about what I like. I wanted to speak about that. What I like is, of course, houseplants, and a bit of it comes from the fact that my parents love houseplants and outdoor plants more so, actually. At a time, we used to have 300 and more outdoor plants, but that was very long back, and I don't think the influence is now from that. Of course, it's ingrained in me from that time, but the houseplants bit is very new to them. In fact, maybe they can't really understand them so much as we all do. But I had just seen a couple of videos 2 years back on YouTube, and I thought, even I want to do this. I want to have a rare houseplant collection, a tropical jungle vibe for my home, and that's how I started it. There was no real anchor there, but what I like in the process is editing and creating videos, thinking about ideas, and learning new techniques about the platform, which is YouTube, because that also helps me at my workplace with my clients and the brands I work for. I really get to know the technical details, how YouTube works, and not many people know that till they start doing it. And I also want to mention, it's very tough to make YouTube videos and try to get views and subscribers. It's very tough, trust me, and starting from zero especially. So I'm really happy that I have reached this little level. I know it's nothing, 500 maybe nothing to many people, but for me it is. To each and every person who is in that 500, it means a lot. So thank you so much. And I think that there's a lot of thoughts in my head which I want to talk about, but eventually over many more videos to come, I will try and do that. For today, that's all. And in the future, I also one more thing I wanted to mention was I want to make this a very aesthetic looking plant collection, which means I want to invest more in the type of shelving units or lighting, grow lights or pots or tools that I use. I want to try and have an aesthetic look for the plants, because that's what matters, in upping the game. So I want to try and do that as well. So that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you watched it till the end. If you did, please hit the like button and share it with someone, and do hit the notification bell. all of it will mean a lot to me, and I hope you had a fun time, and I hope you get inspired to either make videos or to go buy some indoor plants and add it to your collection. If you have your collection, do let me know about it in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.